Downtown Allentown, the site for the big match here in the Lehigh Valley. The undefeated and number 1 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions come to Allentown to take on the 13th ranked and 1-1 Lehigh Mountain Hawks. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to PPL Center here in Allentown for a big match here on SCN, along with Scott Hovan. I am Doug Heater, and obviously this is going to be a sold-out arena. It was sold out a while ago, Scott, and while Lehigh maybe not at their best here this year and today, a lot of fans coming in to see what has been, and what has been over the years, the best team in the country.
Penn State has been a machine, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Lehigh is going to be competitive in a few bouts today, and they're going to see what some of the young guys they have, how well they can do against this Penn State lineup.
Yeah, I agree. So let's take a look at that lineup, the projected lineup today as we start at 125, and a matchup that Lehigh, right out of the gate, has an opportunity with Sheldon Seymour, ranked 17th against Luke Lilledale, the true freshman. Braden Davis, Ryan Crookham should be a really good one. Ryan has been outstanding in his Lehigh career and is number 1 in his weight class. And then that's where it gets a little tough. Carter Bailey's going to be at 141, we believe, against Bo Bartlett. Shane Van Ness against Matt Repos, a freshman for Lehigh. Logan Rosinski scheduled to go for the Mountain Hawks against Tyler Kasak. And by the way, a lot of Becca fans and a lot of fans of the Valley want to see Kasak, who was an All-American last year as a freshman.
Yeah, won 7 straight matches after losing in the first round and came back and placed 3rd. The matchup that everybody's looking forward to here, I think the most competitive one is at 125.
Absolutely.
And at 133, Lehigh looking to get started with a win by Crookham. If they can start off winning those first 2 bouts, that'll be a great start for the Mountain Hawks.
And the second half is Mitchell Mesenbrook against Thane Lawrence, and this is where Penn State is loaded. Levi Haynes, number 2, against Ryland Rogers. Carter Starachi against Jack Wilt, the 4-time national champ, bar and beard. And then not sure if Teppan is eligible tonight. It might be Lackman against Kirk Follett. But again, if you see that heavyweight for Lehigh or for Penn State wrestle, one of the best in the country right now, ranked 2, because Gable Stevenson's back from Minnesota.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that later. He had some interesting comments about him being back into the lineup this year, Kirk Follett. And 197, that's going to be a good bout. You got Barr from Penn State, who's a redshirt freshman, going against Beard, the former Penn Stater. So everybody's pretty excited for that bout.
Lehigh, again, a huge underdog. Could they pull off an upset here? Penn State hasn't lost a duel since 2019. The start of the match from PPL Center in Allentown when you return on the Service Electric Network. Lehigh Mountain Hawks Wrestling is brought to you in part by the historic Hotel Bethlehem and by Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute. Undefeated Penn State Nittany Lions, #1 in the country. 1-1 Lehigh Mountain Hawks, ranked 14th in the country. The win over Morgan State, the loss to the University of Pittsburgh. Sellout crowd meeting the wrestlers here tonight, or today, I should say. Second time these two teams have met in this venue. Now what's interesting too, and you'll get a chance to see this, they've got the mat raised. It's kind of like a national tournament. Obviously crowd was, this again was sold out a while ago, and it's got, obviously coming into the season, a little bit more excitement, hoping that Luke Stanich should be part of this lineup, and that obviously Nathan Taylor being injured, Max Brignola, but still an opportunity really for Lehigh to get a big test here. And as you mentioned when we read the lineups, they get a chance to start with 2 wins at 25 and 33. This is a little bit different atmosphere. I mean, obviously Penn State loaded up top, but to start things off, it'll be interesting to see if they can get those first 2.
Well, first of all, welcome wrestling fans. What a happy holidays, and what a great dual meet to start off the 2024 season with at the PPL Center. Great atmosphere.
Yes.
Here, Doug, in a packed house. It's not often you get an opportunity to possibly start off with a win against Penn State. Sheldon Seymour is having a very good season. Lillidahl is only a freshman, but he was the #1 recruit in the country, and this kid's won the U20 World Championships. He is as legitimate as you get. It's going to be interesting to see how this match plays out. But Sheldon Thomas really has to bring his A game today, because we know Penn State is the elite and most premier program in the country, and he's going to be ready.
They're ranked #1 with 4 Big Ten teams in the top 5, with Iowa #2, Ohio State #4, Nebraska #5. Minnesota is next, and Okie State is the only team outside the Big Ten ranked in the top 5 or top 6 in the country. And again, I mentioned this, that Penn State hasn't lost a duel since 2019. There's Pat Santoro, 17th season as the Lehigh head coach with 185 wins. His team comes in, depending on the ranking services, 14th, and there's the legend Cale Sanderson, 15th season overall, 15th season at Penn State, and you saw the amount of wins there. 248 overall with his time at Iowa State, and 204 here at Penn State. We have 3 people here broadcasting today, Scott and I up top, and we've got Darren Danner, Matt's side, who's got the cool venue in this jam-packed PPL Center. Darren?
Hey guys, we're down here on Matt's side. It is absolute electric. The sold-out crowd at the PPL, just like in 2017. The energy's high. Lehigh starting at 125, needs to get off to a good start, but energy's high anytime Penn State and Lehigh get together. We know it's a big-time dual meet, so looking forward to this, and we're going to start out fireworks right here at 125.
Well, Darren's soaking it in down there, that's true, and this is a really cool atmosphere here. I wasn't here the last time these two teams met, and getting the chance to have it on the riser in front of a sold-out crowd here in this building. A lot of Penn State blue here as well, blue and white. So we'll get things underway in a moment at 125. We mentioned Lillidahl and Sheldon Seymour. Seymour for the Mountain Hawks, and 2 for the wrestlers. I mean, again, these guys obviously been battle-tested and wrestled in great venues, but a chance to wrestle a dual meet like this here is pretty neat for these guys.
Yeah, especially being in the state of Pennsylvania, one of the best high school and college wrestling states in the country. So it's a beautiful, beautiful arena here. So I was talking to Cale before the match, and he said he absolutely loves coming here to wrestle.
Well, there's Luke Lillidahl, the freshman from Missouri, Weldon Spring. He's 3-0 this season. He wrestled at Wyoming Seminary. There's a lot of those wrestlers that'll be out here today. And then Sheldon Seymour, who comes in 17th, is 6-1 this season with a career record of 35-21. He's from Troy, PA. He went to Troy High School last year, wrestling on and off at 125 with Luke Stanich, but he is a two-time state champ out of Troy, 140-13 career record. Meanwhile, Lillandale, as I mentioned, is from Missouri, but wrestled at Wyoming Seminary. Multiple-time national prep medalist. We'll see. It's kind of interesting for these guys that are the first two out there and see how they set the tone and the tempo of this match at 125.
Seymour, a strong wrestler, and we'll see what kind of tactic he comes out with. Is he going to try to slow Lillandale down, or is he going to get to his own attacks and use that strength and explosiveness to his advantage?
Lillandale, obviously, and Scott mentioned it a little bit. I mean, a U20 world champ, won a title in Spain this summer doing that, won U20 in Pan Am, the Pan Am title in 2024, won silver medal at U20s in 2023. I mean, he's been through the whole team, multiple-time national prep or PA prep champ, won a Powerade this last winter, or last December, the tournament that's held annually at Cannon McMillan High School out in District 7. But both guys kind of feeling things out here early on. And Grace Hall is a great venue, but this one obviously holds a little bit more, and the pressure and the intensity of coming out first at 125, kind of interesting.
Got to get used to that pressure, right? Because they're gonna see that at nationals, they're gonna see that at Easterns. You got to be able to win big in big environments, Doug.
Yeah, Seymour last year, and he just wrestled 6 matches, 8 duels, going 5-1. He wrestled predominantly at 125, but bumped up a couple of times to wrestle at 133. And this year has settled into this weight class, 6-1. I mentioned he kind of split time a little bit last year with Luke Stanich, who has a red shirt this year for Lehigh. Stanich expected to come back at 141. That's where he's wrestling unattached this season. And for Lehigh in duels, where it's EIWA duels, or even when we saw them against Morgan State and against Pitt, these two first weights for them is crucial to get things started with Ryan Crookham, who is the top dog, the head of the snake, so to speak, in this dual meet lineup for Lehigh this year.
Well, so far, I think Seymour has been doing a better job of controlling the ties on his feet. I haven't really seen him transition from there into a scoring opportunity. So we end the first period here. It's going to be 0-0. Lillandale had a little leg attack here and there, and I think you're going to see more of that as the match starts to develop more. So Lillandale is going to take bottom in the second period, his choice.
They're escaping just over 4 seconds for the first points of the bout.
And that's what you want to see when you have a freshman going out there competing. How well are they able to get off on bottom? Because that's where they typically struggle coming into college. And he got out in under 5 seconds, so that's a good sign for Lillandale. We'll see if Seymour got a little leg attack there. Neither guy really getting in on a leg yet. A lot of good hand fighting going on here.
And Scott, you mentioned the work effort for wrestlers. We always talk about that being kind of our pet peeve about bottom wrestling. This year in Pennsylvania in high school, you're going to have that 4-point near fall possibility, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to have the 3-point takedown rule. So being good in all 3 is crucial. You get underneath a guy that can tilt you a couple of times or turn you, it's going to really hurt you in a dual meet, in a match, in a tournament, whatever. So again, the effort of being just as good in all 3 positions is even more so now. And it's been like that in college for a while, obviously with the riding time being important, but you're right, for a freshman to be able to get out and explode, whereas Seymour wasn't able to take advantage of that top position at all and even earn even 30 seconds of riding time.
I really like the new rule change. But I also think it could work the opposite way, too. When you know you're wrestling somebody that's very close to your ability level and it's going to be a tight match, the downside of this is if you give up a takedown, you just gave up 3 points. So it's not like you're giving up 2 in the past. So when you have a tactful match like we're seeing here, this giving up 1 takedown here could be crucial in this type of bout.
Absolutely. We have our first high school match coming up on Wednesday on SEN, Nazareth Easton, and we'll discuss some of the points of emphasis in the high school level more when that match comes up on Wednesday with what the officials are trying to do. So just the escape for Lillidahl, the 1-0 lead. Brain Trust, Brad Dillon on the right of our screen and Zach Ray on the left. Penn State, or Lehigh, loaded with talent and coaches behind Pat Santoro. That's something we've talked about the last couple of years.
So Lillidahl really trying to hang on there, trying to get riding time if he can here.
He's got to be careful on that happening again, potentially getting a stalling warning on that. Although he's chasing him, but he's just on the ankle. So Seymour's going to get a chance to try to explode out of this and do what Lillidahl did to him in the first or in the second period. Much better start for the Penn State freshman, however, and he cuts him free.
All tied at 1 with the escape by Sheldon Seymour.
And Sheldon Seymour did exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to continue to keep fighting to get out. It takes 2 to 3 to 4 times to get out on a great wrestler on bottom. And you can't just give up after 1 time. And so great effort there. We got a 1-1 tied match. Riding time really not any type of factor right now. 8 seconds for Lillidahl. Minute and 15 left in the third period here. 1-1. Nice shot here by Sheldon. Can he get his hands locked? Good sprawl by Lillidahl.
Lillidahl is able to get that pressure down with his hips, and he's got Seymour's head buried underneath. Yeah, that's the right call to quickly stalemate. That wasn't going anywhere.
And neither wrestler, Doug, has been able to even get in deep on their opponent yet.
Under a minute to go in the third period, 1-1 the score. First bout of the afternoon, 125.
Sheldon Seymour not really controlling the ties, wrestling a little bit more from the open. I'm wondering if part of that is Lillidahl's conditioning maybe playing a little bit of a factor involved with that, where he's starting to feel a little bit more energized.
Here it is again. He's made much better this time. Lillidahl's able to control that other wrist, and now he turns the tide, and he gets the takedown. What a great scramble at the end, and there's the three-pointer. It's a 4-1 lead. Saw our official count off the arm to get him up off the leg, and it looks like the Penn State freshman, and that's a big win for the Nittany Lions right out of the gate, and that's how good Lillidahl can be.
Here's another look at that sequence. Beautiful sweep single there by Seymour, trying to pick it up off the mat. This defense is very good. You see how he goes right behind there. Picks up a double leg from behind. 12 seconds left on the clock. Smart wrestling.
Big win for the freshman because he came in 23rd ranked. Sheldon Seymour at 6-1 came in number 17. And here's another weight where Lehigh anticipates a victory here. But Braden Davis, a sophomore for Penn State from Michigan, is number 8 in the country at 1-0, 23-4 career mark. There he is. And then they got Ryan Crookham, top-ranked wrestler at this weight, just 1-0 this year for Lehigh. He wrestled against Morgan State, 28-2 in his career. All-American last year, placing third. Of course, local here, this is a big opportunity for him to wrestle here at PPL Center. Wrestled at Saucon and Notre Dame here in our area.
Big matchup here for the fans, everybody looking forward to this match.
Yeah.
Davis ranked as high as #1 nationally as a freshman last year. We talked about that a little bit earlier, Doug.
Yeah, so Davis last year won a Big Ten title and then went an even 2-2 at nationals, but he was one victory away from getting into the top 8. 22-4 last year. Crookham obviously having a great season last year. He had beaten Cornell's Victor Aruja to start the season, was #1, ended up losing to him and then coming back to finish 3rd, won an EIWA title last year. Kind of had the season. He one of the guys I talked to in the preseason when we had the media day. I mean, he's coming in with nothing different as the #1 guy, but understanding that, hey, my goal now is to win 3. My goal last year was to win 4 national titles. Now it's to win 3. And this year, getting a chance to wrestle close to home in Philadelphia, where nationals will be. Eastern's at Stabler. So obviously a kind of a storybook season potentially for the sophomore and Ryan Crookham. But this will be a test for Davis. Top 10, he's 8th, or number 10 according to FloWrestling at this weight class.
I'm surprised they let that go as long as they did there. That foot was out pretty far. Nice shot by Davis on that single leg. And that's the mindset, right, Doug? When you're coming into college and you're really good, your goal should be to win 4 national titles. If you don't accomplish it, then next year, okay, let's go for 3. You keep revising. But that should be the ultimate goal. And for many of these elite athletes, that is their goal. Penn State, they've been doing it for over a decade now. Lehigh, finally getting some guys in there that have the capability of winning multiple national championships.
Yes. Yeah, I know you're talking about Luke Stanich, who we mentioned before. Redshirted this year, will be back next season. A guy that has the opportunity and the desire to win that 3. It's funny, I've listened to multiple podcasts with former Penn State wrestlers, and they discuss that the idea is you're coming back, you lose, like, okay, but now it's like, well, we got to turn things around like the next day and go after that national championship the next year. And of course, this is a team driven to continue to win a team title at nationals and to place as many guys in this finals and then obviously at the top of that podium every year.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, Braden Davis almost
nice.
With a step over and a nice second counter by Crookham. And one of the things that really interests me, Doug, in this matchup is how does Braden Davis, how is he handling the weight, the adjustment, bumping up a weight class? And I guess, they wanted him to wrestle Crookham, talking to Cale, because what a better way to find out than to go out there and wrestle the #1.
Was left in the period to continue to ride. 3-0 lead after 1, was able to accumulate 27 seconds of riding time. So Davis last year won that Big Ten championship. Went 4-0. He beat Pat McKee of Minnesota in the finals 8-1. And I mentioned he went 2-2. So he's from Michigan, Dundee High School. 4 straight Michigan State championships. Whereas Crookham won 3 state titles wrestling at Notre Dame and Saucon Valley. 116-3 career mark for Crookham at high school as he gets the escape to go up 4-1.
I believe his high school won 4 state championships while he was there team-wise.
Yes.
And, when you come from that type of culture where you're a 4-time state champion and a 4-time team champion, doesn't that fit right into the mold of the whole Penn State program, right? They kind of get those guys that are used to winning every year at high levels. They come in, they have more confidence.
I also think it's interesting that a 4-time Michigan State champ decided to not stay close to home. That's a testament to the recruiting ability. And, of course, if Penn State wants you, they're going to get you. Potentially dangerous call to 1:07 to go.
Well, surprisingly, there's several Michigan guys going to be in the stool meet today, up to 3 possibly from Penn State. But most likely it's going to be Kasek going out at 157.
Yeah, you're talking about Alex Facundo, who's also from Michigan. Yeah.
He comes from a dominant high school. Brent Metcalf's former high school. So we're 4-0 here. Second period, 40 seconds left. Riding time is cut. Crookham has 8 seconds of riding time here, so he's got a nice little lead But Davis is going to get his choice in the third period. Correct?
Yes.
And he'll be able to cut that to 4-1 if he gets out, and a takedown could tie it up. So, you know, Crookham is looking for that takedown to kind of separate, give a little bit of separation here.
Now 10 seconds to go in the period. Crookham will take a 4-0 lead into the third.
Davis goes to the down position.
Third period, Crookham on top, 4-0. He's looking for a 2-on-1 tilt here, trying to elevate that. Davis does a good job of bellying down. Penn State leading this dual meet 3-0 in the second of 10 bouts.
And once again, this is where you can be really effective from that top position if you can get a turn. Crookham trying to do it again. 2 seconds, you get 2. 3 seconds, you get 3. 4 seconds, you get 4. And it's really allowed the guys that are good on top, especially with a tilt, to rack up points early on. So Crookham now is over 45 seconds of riding time with, and there's the escape at 48.7, so no riding point yet. So Davis, as you mentioned, Scott, right back in this. If he can score a takedown, he ties it up.
You know, I think this is going to play into Ryan Crookham's offense much better if Davis starts doing more attacking on Crookham. You could see in the first period he came out. You could see there's very much respect for each other. And I think the more you're going to attack Ryan Crookham, the better that's going to play into his style. And we'll see with 52 seconds left in the third.
See Crookham keeping his distance here, hasn't locked up. I imagine Ryan's kind of lining up maybe one potential takedown to seal this, if at all possible. And he just got a stalling warning.
I'm not a big fan of that call right there. I mean, I know he's kind of doing a little bit more circling away, but there is absolutely no offense being generated. Not even a setup.
Davis is kind of doing the same thing to him. Right, he's just batting at his head. Now Crookham has taken the action to the edge, but you're right. And there's another stalling warning for backing up, so it's just a point, and that won't change anything. And it'll make the final score 4-2 in favor of Lehigh's Ryan Crookham. That'll even up the match at 3 apiece. And Crookham now 2-0 on the season and 29-2 in his career. 141 is next. Go ahead, Scott.
It got a little loud in here. Did you say 29-2 for Crookham?
In his career now, yes.
Is it 1 or 2?
Well, I'll go by the records that I got from Lehigh. It's 28.
He's only lost to Vito Arujau
once, unless they counted his deferred year.
Did he lose prior to that?
I got to check the numbers that I got. Yeah, because that's what I got. All right. So Bo Bartlett's going to wrestle here for Penn State. Third in the country at this weight class. The Senior Plus, as Penn State calls him, from Tempe, Arizona. Another Wyoming Seminary wrestler. 4-0. And here's Carter Bailey wrestling for Lehigh. So Bartlett 4-0, 78-18, and Carter Bailey wrestling for the Mountain Hawks, the junior from Livermore, California. 5-2 this season is Bailey, 34-21 in his career.
You know, Darren probably had a pretty good look back down below there on those stall calls. And I was okay with the second one there in the last match.
Just to confirm, according to Lehigh's match notes, Crookham is 28-2. Just want to point that out.
I'm probably going to get a text soon from somebody that's going to let me know exactly who that loss was to. Unless we want to research that, but we got too much action going on down here. Bailey and Bartlett. Bartlett coming off a great season last year. obviously everybody knows how athletic he is. Incredible the type of gymnastics that this young wrestler, or the older wrestler now, does. Unbelievable athlete, which makes him very, very difficult to compete against.
So Bartlett last season, 24-2, was a national runner-up, was also a Big Ten champion runner-up, placing second, and lost to Jesse Mendez of Ohio State in the Big Ten finals, and also lost to him in the NCAA championship match. He was also an All-American back in 22-23 when he finished third. So again, you've got a guy who's one of the best in the weight class at 141, 78 career wins, number 3, taking on an unranked guy for Lehigh and Carter Bailey, who we thought might go at 149. He was actually listed here with Malik Hines, so Hines not going today. Hines, 28 in the country. That would have been an interesting matchup for him too, but Bailey as the backup here at 141. At 149, we're kind of anticipating Matt Repos to go there, not ranked Kelvin Griffin.
And we talked a little bit about that pre-match here, Doug. That beautiful shot here by Bartlett, and he's really good when he gets in there. Bailey, awfully tough from this situation. Kind of a little waterfall draping here. Got the ankles on Bartlett.
28 seconds to go in the opening period. Bartlett close to converting, and patient with it, and the takedown is coming if he can free that ankle. Bailey locked tight around it, and there's the break. Takedown for Bartlett.
Penn State doing a great job so far in this dual meet, picking up points late in the period so far. Did that at 125. Yep. Picked up a stall call at 133, right at the end.
Yeah, so Bartlett came from Wyoming Seminary, was a multiple-time national prep medalist, 177-8 career record. He was actually a 4-time national prep champ. Wyoming Seminary is just loaded with talent year in and year out. As you saw the takedown from Bartlett.
So we got the graphics back up top. 4-0 lead for Bartlett. 1-point escape, second period. Riding time only at a 5-second advantage for Lehigh at this point. In the previous duel for this one, Lehigh wrestled University of Pittsburgh Panthers. And, you know, it's interesting because both coaches were talking about that match. And Pat Santora, they asked him, what'd you think of the match? And he said, boring.
Well, I know Pat's big on action. That's usually what he says afterwards if he likes to fight in his team. And he wasn't happy about that particular match.
Well, when you look at the stats, Lehigh did not score a takedown in 6 bouts. And Pitt did not score a takedown in 6 different bouts, or maybe some of them were. And so, you know, he said, you got to generate more offense than that, especially at this point in the year. You're making yourself better right now so that you can compete at that high level at nationals. But you understand when, you know, for a lot of these younger Lehigh wrestlers, they want to go out there and keep it close and feel like they can compete on the same level with some of these national finalists that they have and national champions in their lineup. But there's a big difference between keeping it close. You could keep it close for 25 times.
Yeah. Well, Bailey's kind of doing that here. You saw him lock tight around the tricep and elbow of Bartlett, so it's just a 4-0 lead, and riding time again, not a factor at all, just +5 in that category. And so Bailey moved up to 141 last year, went 19-8. In 2023, he wrestled in 16 dual meets, was 7th at EIWAs. His deferred year of 21-22, he went 14-8, and he was a 5th place finisher in California in 2021 in his high school career. He's from Livermore, California, and Granada High School.
And his father was a great wrestler back in high school, back in college at Cal. I believe it was Cal Bakersfield.
Yep.
And I believe a 2-time All-American for them.
His mom was also a swimmer there, so I imagine that's where they met. Throw that in there as well. Riding time now up to 24 seconds for Bartlett.
So you're going to see this a lot. 4-0 match, right? You want to get that riding time point, because if you can get that riding time point and your opponent escapes, now you have a 4-point cushion. Because you see this a lot in wrestling. You'll see that 3-0, 3-1, or 4-1 differential, and right here you're going to see guys ride like this, especially Penn State. They're very good. I kind of think that that's very much a parallel ride, and I'd like to see that get called more quickly, because they're not working for a fall, and a lot of the better programs will do that. But at the end of the day, he has the right to ride that way if he wants to. You got to find a way to get out on bottom. And
Bailey hasn't been able to do it, so Bartlett's riding time is over a minute now in this third period, so he'll have a riding point in his pocket for a potential 5-0 win. We're tied at 3 apiece after the first 2. This is 141.
Bartlett content to just ride on top and stay in that position of strength where he's not at risk at all for the last 20 seconds here, and that's some smart wrestling.
Well, I got a stalling warning here, maybe a little bit too late, and not that it's going to make a difference, but and nothing really changed with what he did, and he had the legal figure 4 on a single leg there, and then he's going to go optional start with 15 seconds to go in the period.
Looking for a quick tilt maybe right off of that optional start. Give Bailey credit though, he came out and wrestled a smart match against him, kept it relatively close.
5-0 win for Bartlett, 6-3 in favor of the Nittany Lions. Will step aside and come back with 141 after this.
Bethlehem is the proud presenting sponsor of Lehigh, Outlaws Wrestling and 4-time winner of Best Historic Hotel in America. Congratulations to the 4-time national champions. Hey fans, show some muscle. It's time for the Flex Cam. Sun's out, guns out. You got to pump it up, don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't on, guys, go into the guns. Strong like gold. Come on, folks, let's see those flexes. There's the gun show. Look at that gun show.
Historic Hotel Bethlehem is your 4-time national champion, best historic hotel, and proud presenting sponsor of the 2024-25 Lehigh wrestling season. Visit them at hotelbethlehem.com or call them at 610-625-5000 to plan your stay. Had that conversation with Bruce Haynes about having a match on the roof next year with Lehigh, and maybe it can be Penn State, maybe Pitt. That's in the works. That's in the works. I'd love to see it. Anyhow,
got to be November, and even that's pushing it.
We'll get a warm day. It would have been okay today. Maybe we get Cale Sanderson to do it now. Well, do it in 2 years, right?
And speaking of Cale, there you see Cale along with his assistant, Cody Sanderson, doing a great job at Penn State here.
Well, his team's got a 3-0 lead, or 6-3 lead after the first couple of matches as we go to 149. Everybody in this Penn State lineup is ranked this year, so all 10 of them in the top 25, top 23. Pat Santoro going to see what he gets here at 149. So Shane Van Ness is going to go for Penn State, and we expect to see Matt Repos. And obviously the introductions will come up in a moment. So,
Doug, talking about all those guys being ranked, this team has a legitimate chance of doing something that's only ever been done once at the NCAA championships, and that's 10 All-Americans. When Minnesota did that. And they did that without a finalist, which was pretty incredible. They won the national championship with 10 All-Americans, no finalists. The highest placer was third. Penn State is, I think, possibly in that position to make a run at that this year.
That is interesting to keep an eye on. Jay Robinson, the coach at that time, Minnesota did that. That's not that long ago, am I right? That wasn't, 10, when I say that, 12 years ago to me is not that long ago.
I'm thinking it was a little longer. Okay. I think it was around during the 2000s, right around, give or take a little bit.
To me, that's not that long ago, but it is. Shane Van Ness is out there waiting. He's the number 2 ranked wrestler at this weight. Yeah, so Van Ness is 4-0, 31-7 in his career. He wrestled at Blair. Van Ness is from Somerville, New Jersey, and this is Matt Repos, the freshman from Palmyra, Pennsylvania. He wrestled in high school at Central Dauphin. So Repos comes in at 5-5, 12-10, unranked, and he's going to get a chance to take on the number 2 ranked wrestler at this weight in Van Ness of Penn State. Lehigh had the potential of Kelvin Griffin going here, who is 31 in the country according to Flo at 149, or Drew Munch, who we saw in the match against Morgan State. But instead it's Repos, who 4-time medalist in Pennsylvania for the legendary Jeff Swigert at Central Dauphin, 4th, 7th, 2nd, and 3rd. His runner-up was as a junior. His 3rd place finish was as a senior. And at Central Dauphin, he went 161-19. Van Ness from Blair, an All-American in 2023. He redshirted last year, went 3-0, and then received a medical red shirt to end his season. And he had that All-American finish in the 22-23 season where he went 24-7, Big Ten 4th, 5-1, finished 3rd at Nationals at 149.
Another similar start here at 149. Both wrestlers kind of feeling each other out. It's kind of, it gets a little dark on the edge, but when they're in the middle of the mat, it's kind of cool to be, that white mat and background really provides a better viewing environment. But you can see they have the lights turned down, the spotlight on the mat. Good underhook there by Van Ness. Thought he was going to go to a single there. He's at a great angle.
Real solid whizzer in by Repos at this point. It's going to be hard to clear if you're Van Ness. And you see him trying to do it by pushing that head away. And you got a national third-place finisher last year for Penn State taking on Repos, who is a freshman, and he eventually, Van Ness, does secure the takedown.
It looks like Repos just limped arm out there to get his arm out of that arm bar. That was...
Repos last year in his deferred season went 13-8, wrestling at this weight, 149. And once again, Van Ness was wrestled at Blair before coming to Penn State, a two-time national prep champ. Blair and Wyoming Seminary, fortunate for us that they're in this area, along with Malvern Prep in the Valley or in New Jersey and here in the area. Three of the best when it comes to the prep schools right here in this area to see these kids wrestle at that high school or prep level.
Well, I think out at the Ironman after the first round, I believe it was like 6 PA teams in the beginning there. Northampton was up there high in that score a little earlier. You guys covered the fact. You didn't cover it, but it was a pretty good dual meet, the Northampton and Parkland match.
So Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute is proud to be the official sports medicine partner for Lehigh Athletics. To learn more about the region's only nationally ranked hospital for orthopedics by U.S. News and World Report, visit lvhn.org/ortho or call 833-LV-ORTHO, 833-LV-ORTHO. By the way, the reason is that we had our guys out at Cumberland Valley, not Penn State, for the football championships, but did get a chance to take a peek at that match a little bit. And the Wenrich kid for Northampton was, I believe, Ironman #2 this weekend. That's going to be fun to see him wrestle this year as a freshman.
I think he came back to take third at the
Ironman. He got third
yes.
Ironman, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so that's interesting. They wrestle Nazareth a week from Wednesday, which we will have that match on. Northampton, Gabe Ballard did well out there also. The match that I want to go back and watch tonight, because I was out at Cumberland Valley last night, got home late, tried to lock in on this. I want to see the Keanu Dillard match against his former teammate Nate Desmond. Dillard at Becca finished second. Desmond in overtime beat him for the title at Ironman. Nate unfortunately left the Becca program to go to Wyoming Seminary. He was great to have around. Good kid to talk to, great wrestler. So I got to go watch that one on Flow, the replay of that, and take a peek at two of the best in the country at their weight.
Boy, what a aggressive attempt there by Van Ness to hit that cement job. Does he get it?
He got the takedown.
He's going to get the takedown. He's still got it locked up. We'll see if he can transition here. Interesting talking about those two recruits, both from Becca. One committed to Lehigh, one committed to Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
So both of those programs looking forward to getting two very good wrestlers.
Yes, man.
1 minute to go here, period 2.
Dillard's younger brother, Reef, is actually a weight above him now. So we talked about top 10 teams. Missouri is right there in the top 6 or 7. That's where Colin Rath is working out now this season. Lost him, unfortunately, for this year as a senior. He was fun to watch. Oh, man, was he fun. So we got to watch him getting ready for his freshman season next year. So a 7-0 lead for Van Ness, and he's got a riding point locked up. Now make it 7-1.
Nice snap down there. You can see he's really stringing some great action together and just keeping his opponent's head down, trying to get that spin behind right on the edge, comes under the inside arm and picks up the takedown with 10 seconds left. That is great wrestling, and as a coach, it's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, there it is again, points at the end of the period, and we're starting to see the action pick up a little bit from the Penn State side, a 10-1 lead heading into the third.
And you know, you don't usually see much. Look at this string of action here. Just doesn't get himself caught up, stays out in the open, uses his speed, his conditioning. And you could see Cale clapping really hard there for a moment. And you don't usually get to see that much excitement out of Cale. So he obviously was impressed with his wrestler here.
Excitement level, Tom Brand's is 100, and Cale's like about a 5. That's just their personalities.
Maybe 20 for Cale. But here's the thing. It's awfully fun to win national championships.
Right. Yeah.
So who's having more fun?
I know. It's just that the Brands brothers are great to watch.
Oh, no doubt. And I love both programs.
Yes.
I think it's great for the sport. We need...
Yeah, and great. The 1 and 2 right now. Okie State is up there. They're doing really well. So a lot of fun and dual meet action for some of these teams. And the stalling warning on Repos after he gained the escape. It's 10-2.
And this sport needs Iowa. They need Penn State. They need Oklahoma State. And they also need Lehigh to do well.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a really good article on December 6th on FloWrestling called Lehigh Wrestling Has High Hopes for 25 and Beyond. And they're talking about some of the talent that they have in this room going forward. And it's been tough because they got, they got a couple guys there that they could stick into the lineup as potential All-American candidates. And one of them returning as an All-American, but they're thinking about redshirting him this year. And that's a tough decision, as you see Van Ness just staying on his offense there, almost have his near side cradle locked up. 13-2, and there you see those 3-point takedowns, Doug, coming into play.
So he's going to, right now he's got a 12-point lead because he's got the riding point locked up. Escape for Repos in the third. There's 39 seconds to work with.
And you know exactly what he's thinking. He's thinking, let's see if I can get this tech fall.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between just wrestling to win a match and wrestling to make yourself better.
Trying to secure a takedown at the edge, but won't get that. Couldn't keep that toe in. 16 seconds to work.
You could see him taped up pretty good there from earlier in the bout when they were cleaning up the blood. 15 seconds here.
Oh, he's going to, can he move up on the leg?
Nice ankle pick there.
And the takedown is awarded at the buzzer for Van Ness.
It's going to be 1 point shy of the tech fall, but...
17-3.
Yep. 5 takedowns, however, in the match. Yeah,
good relentless aggression.
And got the major, so they'll take it, a 10-3 lead. Here's how it finished.
Beautiful ankle pick, and he has his opponent out-conditioned, and you could tell, and he uses that as an upperclassman. Actually, his experience in college just to put up points on the board against his opponent.
So a 10-3 lead for Penn State as we approach our 5th bout of the afternoon. It's 157. No, we're going to see Tyler Kasak. He's number 4, 3-0 this year, 27-5. He wrestled, of course, at Bethlehem Catholic. And Logan Rosinski comes out for the Mountain Hawks. Rosinski 4-1 in his career. He's a freshman. He's from Sparta, New Jersey, and he wrestled at Blair, so he'll take on Kasak, who I'm sure a lot of the fans in the building looking to see. Tyler, another guy that Becca lost in his senior season as he went out to prepare for Penn State, and of course, it all worked out. How about as a true freshman last year, able to come back and wrestle and place 3rd, as you mentioned, after losing early on?
Yeah, and that's only been done, I believe it's 7 or 9 times somebody's come back and lost in the first round and placed 3rd at the Nationals. And pretty cool that it was a Lehigh Valley native that did that. And, he's been battling it out with Alex Facunda for this this weight class here. And, they were both up at a few different tournaments together. And right now, Kasak is the guy that they're going with for now, but this is going to be an ongoing thing, I think, throughout the season.
It's interesting. Facundo is 5-0, but 24-7 in his career. He's also a sophomore. He's another Michigan guy. And Kasak 27-5. I mean, how about the depth to have at that weight? And here's Kasak going to try to pull Rosinski back in and try to jump up on that leg, but unable to secure it as they roll out of bounds.
Yeah. Brzezinski did a great job there of using the edge of the mat and making sure he didn't give up the takedown. Take a look here as Kasak tries to transition back. Very good job. But great job by Brzezinski, just not stopping wrestling.
So the story with Kasak last year, you talk about him battling with Facundo this year. He actually did battle with Van Ness last year at 149, earned the spot late in the season, went 24-5. So again, Scott mentioned this in our open. He won 8 straight matches to come back to finish 3rd at Nationals. I mean, I've seen guys lose the first match at States and Hershey and come back and go 5-0, but that is unreal to go 7 matches.
I believe it's 7.
Now, again, I will talk to you about the Penn State notes telling me it was 8, but 7 or 8, it's still pretty impressive.
That's still impressive. It
Yep.
doesn't matter what the number was. It matters about what kind of a effort, and boy, how he just, that momentum starts to roll after you think about how dejected you feel.
Oh, yeah.
After that first round loss. And then the next match is really tough to get through. And then you start building that momentum. And the feeling of coming back for 3rd, I can only imagine, is as great as winning a championship in itself.
So he, according to this, as you said, the 9th wrestler ever to do that. Now, he came out of Big Ten's, finished 3rd, so yeah, you expect to do well, lose the first match, but come all the way back to place is really impressive. And again, he is officially from Doylestown, wrestled at Becca for 3 years, multiple state medalists, 2-time state champ, great career at Bethlehem Catholic. Kind of all knew he was potentially going to leave as a senior. He did that, just like Colin Rath has done. You talk about Facundo, we've mentioned a little bit. Qualified for nationals last year, 19-6 his freshman year, so that's a great guy pushing you in the room. Now, Brzezinski, again, is a true freshman from Blair, was a national prep finalist last year, won the Ironman twice, which you know how difficult that is after watching some of that action this week. And what a tough tournament whenever it is on the calendar, but coming out as the first one of the year makes it even harder. He was 101-9 in his career at Blair Academy. 4-time New Jersey freestyle state champ was Brzezinski. So again, another young guy that's going to be real fun to watch over the next few years for the Mountain Hawks.
Well, and as many accolades as Kasak has earned already in his short career at Penn State, Brzezinski's still right in this match. It's a 0-0 match.
Exactly.
Now, he's been more on the defensive end in this match so far, but he's a very good wrestler with a lot of upside potential. I know that the staff has talked to me about him and how excited they am for his future as we see a stall call here.
Lehigh crowd not very happy about that.
They may not have liked that, but you got to be careful when you're walking off the edge of the mat like that in college wrestling. You hate to see that happen in a close bout, but I'd be surprised if that stall call is going to make an impact in the final score of the match. It could, though. There you get a good view of Kasak.
So Brzezinski's choice, he'll go bottom. Let's see what Kasak does from this top position, just a 1-0 lead. And again, the point of emphasis every year at high school was the stalling warnings, and at the collegiate level, these guys are pros. They've been doing it all for the 10, 15 years about encouraging wrestling. So if you just make a little bit of a minor hiccup at the edge where you walk out, they're going to nail you for that, because they want edge wrestling as much. They want you wrestling as much at the edge as they want you wrestling in the middle of the mat. Nice escape for Brzezinski to tie it up. Just 14.5 seconds it took, so no riding at all for Kasak, as we'll go neutral again in the second.
Well, the edge is oftentimes a safe place for a lot of wrestlers, right? It's they can just step out if they get in danger. Here you see Kasak.
Now and they're gonna warn Kasak this time for pushing him out of bounds.
Yes.
Listen, all fans want, is coaches too, is consistency, and we've gotten that so far.
You want to take a little half shot right there on the edge instead of just pushing out, because referees can call it that way, and you see a beautiful single leg that he has posted up on Brzezinski. Kasak really tough in this position here, so he's going to pick up Is he going to get enough swings there for a neutral danger?
He only got one, I thought. Great scramble here. This is great to watch. Can Rosinski potentially come out of this? But Kasak in way better position
when you
now.
get that height, but Rosinski...
He's locked around.
He's going to stay on that ankle, even if he gives up the takedown. I could see a reversal or an escape coming through there, but Kasak getting under that forearm like that is going to be difficult for Rosinski, and he does. He gives up the 3-point takedown.
Have to bail out of that, make it 4-1. 26 seconds to go in the second. You got blood time on Kasak now, it appears.
So over 4 minutes, almost 4.5 minutes of wrestling, Kasak finally got that takedown. Rosinski making him work extremely difficult for that.
Here it is. This was a great flurry.
Beautiful single there, and Rosinski kind of put himself in that position with this waterfall position that he put himself in. You could see right there were some points being called, not enough. And you thought Rosinski, if he can get his hips through here.
And he's in good. This is where it appeared that he might be in better position.
Well, when Kasak gets height,
hips cut up.
Right here, comes around the far hip. That's tough. And at this point, it's just getting under those near arms and not allowing that guy to do any scrambling or rolling. Nice takedown by Kasak.
Kind of textbook on how to work in that scramble situation. So blood time is cut. 25 seconds of riding time for Kasak in the second. 4-1 lead for the Lehigh Valley native, Bethlehem Catholic graduate.
You know, and when you look at the Division I level and the success of high school wrestlers at the D1 level, Kasak went to Bethlehem Catholic. You got a Blair guy here. From a young age, these guys are finding the best programs to develop at, and it's difficult to get to this highest level with the best programs if you didn't compete with the best programs.
Yes. Kasak trying to maintain control here with 2 seconds to go, and he'll get. Was that another stalling warning? Did the arm go up on that?
I thought that was more of a no change in action type of thing, but right now Kasak has 1 stall call. Rosinski has 2. So doesn't look like it's going to be a factor yet. Rosinski's going to have to get some points on the board as we end the second period.
4-1 lead. Tyler Kasak goes to the down position.
Kasak with 49 seconds of riding time heading into the third on bottom. Rosinski wrestling the returning All-American who placed third last year. Very, very tough so far.
Whittle down this riding time to right around 30 seconds as Rosinski was able to scramble with Kasak and stay with him. He'll go out of bounds. 23 seconds of riding time. Here's what's interesting about Kasak, as you talked about not giving up, not giving up. So let's see what his strategy is, what he does differently or the same on this opportunity. He was able to scramble out of bounds to get the restart, which allow him maybe that quickness off the whistle.
Well, I think Kasak's a little bit tired. I mean, he's been pushing the action on his feet a little bit, but Rosinski makes you wrestle hard.
Yeah.
He did not make anything for Kasak easy when it came for him scoring points.
No.
Interesting story about Kasak. His dad has a meat farm. And Josh Barr, who we're going to see later on at 197, moved up from 184, and he had to gain weight.
So he got some meat from.
So he got bought a cow from the Kasaks, and he's trying to beef up so that he can be a full-size 97-pounder, and he's actually built himself up, and he's still trying to get there, and he's doing a great job here at 97, which.
That's interesting. He actually beefed up with beef. Blood time for Kasak again. So crowd getting a little restless.
Wow,
now
you see the blood on the. Wow, a lot of blood on the mat there.
The interesting thing about this particular deal with Rosinski is that he's doing a nice job of riding. Not going to really get much. He does have 22 seconds of riding time to his advantage now, but he's down 3. But I imagine Kasich, the blood may be something it's on the back of his mind, but he obviously wants to get out of this. You don't want to get ridden out for an entire period.
You could see the amount of blood that was on the mat there, and he's got his nose plugged up. That makes it extra hard to breathe, like you were referring to. And so that's going to zap your conditioning 10 times more when you don't have the availability to breathe during the match as easily as you can. Where does he go with this top riding here? Is he looking for a turn on top versus maybe letting him up, taking him down? A 4-point turn can win you the match.
Yeah.
You let him up, you still don't win the match. It's going to be 5-1 with a takedown. So I'm guessing that's what Rosinski's strategy might be here, Doug.
Well, he's done a nice job of riding for the period, but hasn't come close to turning him. It's more about keeping the chest on the back and just keeping the pressure down. So let's see. There was a little bit of a discussion there, obviously, with he and Coach Santoro about what they might elect to do.
Well, I don't think he's going to trap Kasich into doing anything. Kasich staying in great position. He's not making himself vulnerable, which is probably smart. We see an optional start here.
He cuts him. Okay. That was the discussion with Coach Santoro as he kind of just waved his hand like we're going to let him go.
And Kasich looks like he just wants to get out of this bout here with the look at he's blocked up there in one nostril, lots of blood. Wrestle smart. And you're not going to win it on a stall call.
No, but if you do get one and score a takedown with 27 to go, you could tie it because he's been warned once, so you can make it 5-2 with a warning, but I don't know if we're going to get one. And Kasich in good position here. Now he'll carry it out of bounds. And there's the warning.
I'm surprised they stalled. They called him. Honestly, I thought Kasich disguised that very well. The guy took a little shot on him. He circled to the edge, and I thought he was going to get away from it. I thought I was going to say it was smart wrestling, but he didn't outsmart the referee, I guess.
That's the key phrase right there. He didn't outsmart the referee. Rosinski trying to battle and score, and he won't, but an effort by the freshman keeps it 5-2. The returning All-American for Penn State wins their fourth match. They take a 13-3 lead at the break. We'll step aside and come back with some numbers and some highlights here at the midway point in this matchup between the Nittany Lions and the Mountain Hawks. Halfway point here in this dual meet between the Nittany Lions and the Mountain Hawks. There's your score, 13-3. Lehigh has won. I'm sorry, Penn State has won 4 of the 5. Lehigh getting the win from Ryan Crookham at 133. And it's been, I guess, conservative match, very low intensity match so far. But one of the guys that really tore it up for the Nittany Lions, Shane Van Ness at 149, obviously scoring the most points and the most takedowns that we've seen in a single bout.
Yeah, and I think going into this match, we expected more bonus points out of Penn State in the first 5 bouts. And the only one doing that was Van Ness here. And you could see an overhook by Repos here. And you see Van Ness just kind of goes behind there. A very patient wrestler, but also very aggressive wrestler as well. Take a look here in the second period. You see, watch this move as he takes him right back over to his back. That's similar to the move that Spencer Lee got hit with in the semifinals. He doesn't get the near fall, but he does pick up the 2-point takedown. And watch this movement by Van Ness. This is outstanding. Just relentless motion and constant movement. Head to the third period here. Peels the wrist nice. He's got him broken down flat. Got the near leg, and you watch how he just goes head under and gets back to the angle, keeps control of the wrist, picks up a takedown there.
Yeah, so Van Ness ended up with
beautiful ankle pick right at the end of the bout here. Almost gets the tech fall, but comes up 1 point short, 17-3. That put Penn State up 10-3, and then at 57 with a win by Kasich. Penn State going into the break, winning 13-3 so far in this dual meet, Doug.
Well, once again, Darren Danner is Matt's side. Darren, what do you got? What are your thoughts of that first 5 matches?
Well, I mean, Penn State controlled the pace, obviously. You know, a lot of feeling out, like you guys were talking about. Scoring points at the end of the period. Lillidahl doing his job, getting the job done at the end. Obviously, Bartlett at the same. He's scoring points at the end of that first period. But I think besides Van Ness, who just really pushed the action and scored points, Lehigh kind of held their own and maintained. Weren't close to winning, but at the same time, they held their own. They were in the match, and they just, you know, tried to do what they could. But right now, it's been a lot of feeling out between these two teams. It is early in the season. But you know, you'd like to see a little more action. I'm sure we'll get more here in the second half.
Yeah, this second half will be interesting. You're right, with Lehigh having 4 wrestlers ranked in the top 2. 3 of those are #1 in the country. We'll step aside and come back with more at our halftime break. Again, the Mountain Hawks trail the Nittany Lions 13-3.
Historic Hotel Bethlehem is the proud presenting sponsor of Lehigh Wrestling and 4-time winner of the Best Historic Hotel in America. Congratulations to the 4-time national champions. Today's duel is brought to you in part by Service Electric Network, now offering their new streaming service SEN Plus. For only $9.95 a month, watch all 3 channels live plus video on demand with any cable or internet provider. Go to senetworkplus.com to learn more about and sign up today. And remember, you can watch all Lehigh Wrestling home matches only on the Service Electric Network. Wrestling fans, it's time for musical chairs, presented by F&A Grog House, located on East 3rd Street in Bethlehem. F&A Grog House is your pre- and post-match headquarters for Lehigh Wrestling. Visit them at fnagroghouse.com and follow F&A Grog House on Facebook and Instagram for specials and event updates. Today we have
13-3 at the midway point between Penn State and Lehigh. Let's take a look at how we got to this point with the Nittany Lions winning 4 of the 5. Little Dog got a big win and kind of set the tempo at 125 over Seymour, who was ranked ahead of him. Crookham gets the lone Lehigh win. Bartlett 5-0, methodical. Van Ness, we saw the highlights, and Kasak got the big win 5-2 at 157.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself with Van Ness being the very good aggressor out there in that win.
Now we'll see if the wick gets turned up here again with Lehigh having 3 top-ranked wrestlers coming up. Messenbrook at 165, Carter Starachi, maybe one of the greatest ever, the 4-time national champ, and Craig Kirkfillette at 285. We'll step aside and come back with the final 5 on SCN right after this.
Down to 1. No shaking hands. It's a battle. Good stance in motion. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Turn into a wrestling match, Brian. Turn into a wrestling match.
Always turns into a wrestling match. I want to thank FNA Grog House for their support. The winner, Ethan is your winner. Representing Easton, congratulations. Thanks to all of our participants, and thank you, FNA Grog House, for your support of Lehigh Wrestling.
And we would like to recognize Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine partner of Lehigh Athletics. To learn more about the complete orthopedic and sports medicine services, call 833-LV-ORTHO or visit lvhn.org/ortho. And Lehigh Wrestling is back in action in Stabler Arena on December 20th to host the Sheridan Tournament featuring teams from the ACC, Big Ten, Ivy League, and the EIWA. Get your
Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute is proud to be the official sports medicine partner for Lehigh Athletics. To learn more about the region's only nationally ranked hospital for orthopedics by U.S. News and World Report, visit lvhn.org/ortho or call 833-LV-ORTHO. Second half coming up, by the way, if I may make a little plug for LVHN, tremendous job on my bicep tendon tear. I will plug those guys forever, the effort they did over there with that. Just so I've spent a lot of time with LVHN. Great job.
I feel we're pretty blessed in the Lehigh Valley to have some great hospital networks all around the Lehigh Valley. Lehigh Valley Health Network being one of those as well.
So we're going to go to 165, and the fans are geared up for a second half here. And we're going to get one of the 3 top-ranked wrestlers for the Nittany Lions, Mitchell Messenbrink from Heartland, Wisconsin, the sophomore at 5-0, 33-1 in his career. And he's going to take on, we expect to see Thane Lawrence here, the junior from Perryopolis, Pennsylvania, 5-4, 17-20 career mark for Lawrence. Yep, it's Lawrence, it's Messenbrink. And Lawrence was the guy that was injured mid-season last year. This will be a real big test for him. Messenbrink finishing second last year at Nationals, was a Big Ten champion, Big Ten Freshman of the Year, started his career at Cal Baptist, transferred to Penn State last year and had a great season. His only loss was in the national finals on a riding time point, and that was to David Carr of Iowa State. And he's out to a quick 3-0 lead.
Keep going, Doug, because I want to see how many takedowns he can get before the Open is done. If you want to see a wrestler with one of the best motors in college wrestling, Mitchell Messenbrink has to be number one or at the top of that conversation.
And I will say this again, you're from Wisconsin, you got Minnesota nearby, you've got Ohio State you got to go past, you got Michigan you got to go past. You decide to come here, and I mean, again, freshman year last year, loses just one time, unreal, and won a Big Ten title. Did not hit David Carr, Iowa State, out of the Big 12, but losing once on a riding point in your freshman season.
Yeah, and it looked like he was a little bit confused at the end of that match, the way he was wrestling, although I could be wrong. He's got a Turk here on Lawrence. 3-1, now make it 6-1.
Now, once again, to give a little talking about Lawrence here, he started the season at 174 and then unfortunately suffered an injury and was out, because he had a pretty good season last year. He was 6-4 in 23 and deferred eligibility in 21-22. He went to Fraser High School, a 4-time WPIAL champ, 4-time AA medalist. State title as a sophomore and junior, third as a freshman, and second as a senior. Went 120 and 15 in his career. But a monster test for Thane Lawrence, who's wrestled 9 matches this year at 5-4.
Yeah, and I think the key for this season, like you mentioned, Doug, is stay healthy.
Yep,
right.
Absolutely.
And right now, this is a big test for him.
And this is his weight for the rest of the year, right? I mean, he's got Dubler, who we saw earlier this year, Richie Grungo, also an option. But for Lawrence, this is really his weight to kind of take a hold of and finish the season at. Messenbrink not only has a couple of takedowns, but he's working for a near fall. We haven't seen one of those yet. Try to lock up that cradle, but can't quite get it done.
He just wraps you like a blanket, Messenbrink on top, and on his feet he smothers you. You don't get a chance to catch a breath, and it's great to watch wrestling like that. You have to be in phenomenal condition to be able to wrestle like that. He's also a tremendous scrambler too. He wrestled for the AWA, Askren Wrestling Academy, and Ben Askren, an Olympian and national champion at Wisconsin, is doing a great job of creating wrestlers that are great in scrambles, which is so essential to today's wrestler.
By the way, Askren is an interesting individual as well, as an MMA guy and doing that stuff. He's a fun guy to watch and listen to, but that's the kind of guy. Listen, I don't know what it'd be like to go through a Tom Brand's workout at Iowa. That's the kind of dude you'd want to have, and Askren's another one. It's go, man. It's go, and that's what we're seeing here. A 6-1 lead, 2.5 minutes of riding time already for the Penn State All-American, who was second last year.
And, you know, Ben Askren might have benefited a little bit more from that Tom Brand's and Brands Brothers mentality, that Iowa type style. And I think Iowa would certainly benefit by having a coach like him in their program that can help them maybe diversify a little bit of that, you know, constant get you tired and just grind you out.
Escape for Messenbrink's up 7-1, trying to score again. And here's the motor. It doesn't stop. And Lawrence is the recipient of this, trying his best to fight this one off, but at some point he might have to bail out of here, and there he goes.
Yeah, great patience by Messenbrink there. He knows the position he's in, and why force something, right? That's called being an efficient wrestler, and Penn State's really good at that, as you can see. He's got a cross face on him. He's got that leg torqued across.
So he's got the 4 near fall points again. 2 swings is 2, 3 swings is 3, 4 swings is 4. So he's got a 14-1 lead when these are awarded. Hold hasn't been broken yet, and there it should be given soon. Comes right back to it again. Nothing changed, still had the leg laced.
Looked like he was trying to come back for the fall there. Had him there for a second. So he's going to pick up the 4, 14-1.
By the way, Sammy Sasso of Ohio State, which is an unbelievable story, is third at this weight class right now, the third-ranked guy. Michael Caliendo of Iowa is number 2. All Big Ten guys, top 3. And look at this, Messenbrink looking to end it with a pin in the second. Will end it with a tech fall with the 4 near fall points awarded. Again, you can't figure for the head and pick up the head off the mat anymore, so he's trying his best to reach over with that left leg, and he's going to get the 4 near fall awarded, and that'll do it. You get 18 plus 19 to 1 on the tech fall, and that's kind of what we expected from the returning national runner-up.
From Penn State, Mitchell Messenbrink.
And I love that after he cranks your shoulder for about 2 minutes and it's in pain, gives you a nice little pat on the back as you walk off. But he is a great sportsman. This guy just goes out there, Doug, and has a focus and a mission, and you are just going to get in the way of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Thane Lawrence, that's tough for him, and he tried to do his best, but full go from Messenbrink. You saw the score 18-3 in favor of the Nittany Lions. They've won 5 of 6. We go to 174, and it doesn't get any better. Levi Haynes, or it doesn't get any easier, I should say, for Lehigh. Haynes, the number 2 ranked guy at this weight class at 174. 52-2. What's up?
I'm just laughing. It doesn't get any better for Penn State, but it gets a lot worse for Lehigh.
Yep. Yeah, and you got Rylan Rogers coming out. So first of all, Haynes is from Orentsville, PA. He went to Biglerville High School. He is number 2 in the country. 52-2 career. Rylan Rogers from Idaho, 4-2, 14-9 in his career. Rogers from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Coeur d'Alene High School, and courtesy of the University of Michigan also. This is the first time we have a chance to see Rogers. He did not compete against Morgan State in the match we did in the opener.
Got awfully quiet fast there as we start this bout here, and Haynes also has a machine, and he's making a 2 weight class jump here, which has got to be a lot of fun for him, right? Not having to worry about your weight, and you know, when you wrestle as aggressively as Haynes does, I'm not saying it gets easier up at 174, but there's a reason why oftentimes great upper weights were wrestlers that wrestled in the light and middle weights growing up.
Well, a guy that, when you say that, I mean, Quentin Wright wrestled at like 165 in high school, but he's another one that I think benefited from that just complete 100% go all the time that wrestled at Penn State. He was great to watch in high school, and he was able to go up a few weight classes, but it just never stopped. It was the same, I mean, just all over. Flurry, flurry, flurry all the time.
And Quentin Wright was one of the first guys in this Penn State program to win a national championship for Cale Sanderson. He redshirted that first year and then came back the next year, and he was really struggling.
Yeah.
And Cale would go up to him in the room and just whisper in his ear during practice, "You're going to be a national champ." And he ended up the 9th seed at the Big Tens, and I remember saying, that's the worst possible guy you could see when you're the number 1 seed.
It's like, how did I got the 1 seed. Guess what? That's who I get, right? In the quarterfinals. And he was a Bald Eagle area. He was a great kid to watch in high school. A great personality, always smiling, and carried that right over. But that's, when you mention that, that's what it reminds me of, a guy that could bump up. So Haynes, by the way, is number 2 at this weight. Keegan O'Toole of Missouri is ranked number 1. This is according to Flo.
And that's those 2 guys are gonna battle it out. That is, I mean, Keegan O'Toole is elite as well, and that's gonna be fun to watch when these guys compete against each other.
No scoring in this period so far.
In fact, I think Penn State meets Missouri at the duels. These duels coming up on the 22nd.
Just taking a peek here.
Is it the Journeyman duels? Yes,
yes.
on the 22nd.
Yep.
So we might be seeing that matchup.
Yeah. So there's a takedown late in the period again by Haynes, 3-0 lead. Yeah, that, by the way, is in Nashville. Lehigh's match against Wyoming, I just got word today, is being moved to Bryce Jordan Center. They scheduled that at Rec Hall. Penn State's match against not Lehigh, sorry, Penn State's
right.
match. Yeah, that's what listen, we got a Penn State grad right to my left in Tyler Long, and he told me that they moved that match to Bryce Jordan because of, I guess, the crowd side. It's the 15th of December. It's next Sunday against Wyoming.
I'll tell you what, Thane Lawrence just did a beautiful single here, and Levi Haynes did the single. Thane Lawrence had a great sprawl on him, and that just shows you how good Levi Haynes is to be able to finish that shot in such an extended position, how he's able to make small adjustments and re-grip and finish that.
So Haynes gets the escape. Haynes, a two-time Big Ten champion, a national runner-up in 2023, a national champ last year in 2024. Perfect season last year of 23-0, won his second Big Ten title. Was able to knock off Ja'Cory Teamer in the finals, 5-0 for the win at Nationals. Biglerville was a double-A school. Went 40-1. How about this? 40-1 as a freshman. Finished second in the state. 30-4 as a sophomore, state runner-up. Perfect season as a junior, 30-0, and that did not compete as a senior. Was able to train and compete at the collegiate levels, kind of setting the tempo for Kasak and now Colin Rath. And here is Haynes trying to put this one away in the second.
Boy, you see so many similarities with his style and Messenbrink's.
Yep.
You see him on the Turk here. And boy, did he do a great job of just walking that up to the head there. See, he got the shoulder flat. He's going to get the pin here in the second period with 48 seconds remaining.
Back-to-back bonus point wins by the Nittany Lions, and kind of expected. Here's the finish.
Stuffs that far shoulder there, and you can see as he walks that foot and knee to the head there, and he kind of arches in here. He's going to pick up the fall there.
24-3 lead after 7 bouts, and here we go. I'm sure a lot of people from both sides we're looking forward to this one with 4-time national champ and #1 ranked Carter Starace coming out here at 184. 82-4 career record, 4-0 this season. And Jack Wilt scheduled to go here for the Mountain Hawks.
Doug, who you got?
Yeah, listen, you know what? I'm feeling right here. I'll take Starace. So Wilt is a junior from Madison, New Jersey. Again, a promising young wrestler. He went to Seton Hall Prep. He's 3-1 this year. Guess what? You got to wrestle Starace. 26-18 career record. Starace from Cathedral Prep out west in Erie Cathedral Prep. But Starace, 4-time national champ, could again be the first ever 5-time national champ. By the way, according to Flo, Gable Steveson is the best pound-for-pound wrestler. Starace's #2. Remember we had this conversation against Morgan State, who then beat the kid from UNI?
Yeah.
So he's the best at the weight. #1 is Starace. And I did my homework. So Parker Kakaisen from UNI.
And that match was tight, but you could see that Starace was, I think, you could tell that he probably was a little bit better in that match. And he's just phenomenal there as they stop the bout for potentially dangerous there. Wilt's going to have his hands full here. Most everybody listening out there knows Starace could possibly be the first 5-time NCAA champion in the history of the sport. I think Aaron Brooks, you could argue, could have been better or close to being just as good. He wrestled the year that the Nationals were canceled, so he didn't get that year back, but he was on track to be a 5-time NCAA champion if he would have. So those two wrestlers here, just unbelievable accomplishments. And Starace last year, boy, talk about the grit, talk about the passion and desire to just want to keep competing through injury.
Yeah. So
You can see that beautiful single. See how he gets that head down inside the leg there and circles around the back. That is perfect and textbook right there.
Wilt calling for injury time. He's a little gimpy here. So it's interesting you brought that up. So when I think about this, I mean, you think Cael Sanderson probably could have been a 5-timer, right? We agree on that. I mean, right? And what about Kyle Dake? Could he have won 5, right? Those are 2 names that pop into my head right now. If you had
Cael
that.
got beat during his freshman year, but then most people get beat at some point in their career.
Right.
I mean, you could make the argument, could have Pat Smith. Pat Smith won it as a true freshman. And how about Kyle Dake?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, there's a few. But anyhow, it's kind of cool to have that opportunity. You know, no different here.
Beautiful shot. Did you see that by Wilt? He got so low with his level. It's almost like he slid across the mat on his stomach and got that low leg attack on Carter. Very few people ever get into this position on Carter Sirachi. Now, one thing about Carter is his defense is phenomenal. And you saw that in the All-Star Classic earlier this year. He has exceptional defense. Take a look at this low-level shot here. Beautiful for a big guy. And that's about as good as you're going to get in on his leg.
Now, I know they had to stalemate that, but I wanted to see if Sirachi, just to see how, not if, how he would have gotten out of that. They stalemated it because there was no improvement by Wilt, but I think Sirachi's going to stay away from that head snap again. And here's Sirachi going to try to convert and going to come around and get it.
Yeah, he used that crotch lift towards his advantage there, picking up the 2-point takedown. 7-0 now for Sirachi in the first period. And, you know, he doesn't really force a lot. Sirachi's not like going to pound you and grind you. He is just a lot of finesse, wrestles with a lot of efficiency, doesn't force anything. And you rarely ever see him get tired out there on the mat.
Now he's kind of peeking to see what time is left here, and he's got that arm trapped on Wilt. You got to keep that elbow where it is and not work it up toward the shoulder or the hand up toward the neck to keep it legal. And now he's going to come back the other way.
You know, and what Penn State is doing here, they have several how many multinational champions have they produced?
Oh, man.
And very few of them are transfers. They bring them in-house and they develop them to that highest level. And there you see that single leg there, how he splits it, keeps his hips low, shows great patience.
So here's the numbers on Sanderson. So as a team, they've won 11. He's won 11 national titles at Penn State, 106 All-Americans, and 40 national champs in his 11, or his now, what is that, 11 or 18 seasons overall as a coach too, but at Penn State, 11 national titles, 106 All-Americans, 40 national champs. And again, you mentioned this earlier, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It gets better and better with the high school talent, even just in Pennsylvania that we see, and I would include the preps too.
Back in on that ankle again for Wilt. He's doing a great job in this match against a unbelievable opponent. And, you know, when you look at what Cael Sanderson is doing, it is just exceptional. In my opinion, I don't think there's a better coach on the planet at the Olympic level, at the NFL professional sports level. What he is doing is special. That being said, Pat Santoro has built up a phenomenal resume for himself at a school like Lehigh University, which isn't a school that has 40-some thousand undergrads at it.
Right, and the NIL deal, as Sirachi scores again, makes it even harder sometimes. So 40 national champs for Sanderson, 38 at Penn State. He had 2 at Iowa State before coming over. Another takedown makes it 11-0. No, but what Lehigh's doing too, what I mean by that is, you know, obviously the NIL opportunities not quite as prominent as they might be at a Big Ten program.
Oh, absolutely not. And you look at Penn State, they're thriving in a lot of areas right now. Their football team in the championship last night actually gave a great performance there, especially at the end. Their women's volleyball team was seated 3rd. I'd like to give a shout out to University of Pittsburgh, who is seeded #1 in that tournament. They could end up meeting up in the finals at some point if they both make it. And heading into the third period here, and Starace quietly builds up an 11-0 lead with 1:14 riding time. Even on his stand-up, Doug, he doesn't force the escape. He just kind of stays patient, and he wrestles, and he is so efficient and saves so much energy with the way he wrestles. When he needs to score, good luck stopping him.
Yeah.
But up until that point, he is a very efficient wrestler. Take a look here. You can see he just kind of flows with it. I wonder if he...
Well, the other thing, too, I notice on that, and Wilt's having trouble finding headgear that works. But what's interesting about Wilt is he's not hanging on. Like, he's trying. He's working hard to try to see what he can get here against one of the best ever. He has some headgear issue, and he was trying to trade one with a teammate. Hasn't found one that works out really well. Now, there's 1:14 of riding time for Starace, and he's got a chance to get another technical fall for Penn State. Penn State, as expected, has turned up the wick a little bit in the second half of this match with a tech fall win at 165, the fall at 174. And now Starace, the number one ranked guy at this weight class, of course, at 184, building up an 11-0 lead.
Doug, there's a Christian McCafferty, who's very well known here in the Lehigh Valley. Parents grew up here, great athletes themselves, is a big fan of Bruce Lee, right? And Bruce Lee has this theory where you flow like water. And when I see that, I wonder if Carter Starace, if he hasn't read that or anything about Bruce Lee, he certainly wrestles like that.
Right, yes.
Like, how often is he resisting anything? And and you see these scrambles, like he had an opportunity to spin behind, and he just goes with the flow. And he used it to his advantage as well as anybody I've seen in wrestling.
And now showing his ability to just ride on top. So his riding time in the third is over 2 minutes.
You know, and he's trying to improve, right? He's a position where you could get better at in the top position for Carter Starace, and he's going to give it some time on top. And if it doesn't work, he's going to try to work for this technical fall here, and he gets in on a shot. See how easy he gave up on it? But he didn't really give up on it. He's just going with the flow, and there's always a second option for him that he sees, which is pretty amazing.
And on the other end of it, I mean, here's Wilt in again, going to give it a shot here, pun intended, and you're going to try to score off of this.
And Wilt, give him credit. He's gotten in deep several times now on Starace.
Under 30 to go.
And that against Carter, you know, the big challenge going from high school to college is if you get in on the leg in high school, 90% of the takedown is done. In college, it's 10%.
Yeah.
And look at how many times Wilt was in deep there, and he never even got close to scoring.
And Starace's going to try to convert again, which would be another takedown for Penn State near the end of a period if he's able, and he does, able to get the takedown, make it 14-1, so 15-1 with the riding point. So just a point shy of another technical fall. It is 28-3 Penn State as we come back for the final two after this.
Today's duel is brought to you by Service Electric Network in part, now offering their new streaming service, SEN Plus, for only $9.95 a month. Watch all 3 channels live, plus video on demand with any cable or internet provider. Go to scnetworkplus.com to learn more and sign up today. And remember, you can watch all Lehigh Wrestling home matches only on Service Electric Network. And fans, today's attendance, 9,769 people. Thank you so much for supporting Lehigh Mountain Hawks Wrestling. The IWA Championships will once again return to Stabler Arena this March as your Lehigh wrestlers look to punch their tickets to the NCAA Championships in Philadelphia. Tickets will go on sale early next year. Inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. It's time to get crazy and waving your arms in the air like you just don't care. Let's see your best inflatable tube man impersonation.
Lehigh Wrestling returns to Lehman Turner Arena at Grace Hall on Friday night, January 31st. To face EIWA rival American at 7 o'clock with rival Army West Point visiting the following afternoon at 2 p.m. Don't miss out on the excitement. Get your tickets now at LehighTickets.com. A little other throw-in on that match. The first ever Lehigh women's dual meet against Columbia will be the same day, Friday, January 31st, 3 o'clock in the afternoon at Grace. So get a chance to see the ladies wrestle in the afternoon and the men wrestle at night in an Army, which will be a good duel the next day at 2 o'clock.
I'm definitely going to that duel. I'm a big fan of women's wrestling. And
well, I hope you are, because I think we're doing it.
Oh, really? On the women's match?
Listen,
that would be awesome.
It is. It's in the wheels are turning on a potential doubleheader, but we'll be there at night. By the way, yes, if you're not going to be able to watch, you want to come out LehighTickets.com. But yes,
I wouldn't be surprised if that is packed with a lot of the local high school girls wrestlers that we have in the valley.
Columbia for the women, American night. Kia, the wheels are turning, and of us getting a double dip going that day. 3 o'clock.
3 returning state champs in this Lehigh Valley area in the girls' states coming back this year.
So, yeah, and I think we might have a Easton wrestler wrestling at Lehigh next year. That's a little, I'm just going to throw that out.
Wow.
A little, I think we all know, but we're going to throw that out. That's the buzz I'm hearing. All right, back to what's going on here. Josh Barr, the redshirt freshman from Penn State, he's 21 in the country. He's undefeated, 16-0 in his career, 2-0 this season. He's from Davison, Michigan, another Michigan guy coming here. But this is number 6, Michael Beard, 9-0 this year for Lehigh. He's out of Reading. He's a senior, wrestled at Malvern Prep and Penn State, and has come here to Lehigh. 78-17 career record for Beard at 197.
And you know, Penn State has nothing but respect for Michael Beard. He was in that program, but how sweet was that when he wrestled Dean from Penn State over at Stabler Arena, ranked number 1 in the country, defending national champion, and then defeated him.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure Penn State's hoping to return the favor with this young guy, Barr, who's extremely tough, like you mentioned, undefeated.
So Barr last year as a redshirt freshman, or his redshirt season, competed just 5 events, but overall went 14-0, and he wrestled an entire year unattached at 184, so up a weight class here. From Davison, Michigan, 4-time Michigan State champ, just like we saw earlier. And he's 125-1 his career. Now, Beard last year, EIWA championship for him at 197, 8th at Nationals, going 29-4. But he also had 27 bonus point victories, which tied a Lehigh record. 17 technical falls. And I remember last year with Stanich Crookham and then Beard Taylor, it was like hammer, hammer, middle of the lineup, hammer, hammer. Beard really took advantage, I thought, of that 3-point near fall, 3-point takedown, 4-point near fall. So this will be an interesting test for him against a guy that comes in 21 in the country.
I've been impressed with Beard since the day that he showed up, even before that, frankly, in high school and up at Penn State. I love the way he wrestles, and I think when he is on his A-plus game, he can beat anybody in the country.
Yeah.
Now, Barr, they are expecting great things from this wrestler, and he's really proven himself to become the starter here at 197. and he's had to really work hard to get up to that weight class.
Yeah, Lucas Cochran, another wrestler that was listed as available today for Penn State, the junior from Utah, Perry, Utah, 4-0, 22-4. So, as you'd expect, some really good depth for Penn State. I mean, all over the place, some of the guys they've gotten. Crowd's starting to get into this a little bit with Beard.
Yeah, not a whole lot of getting past the tie-ups here at 197 pounds. And this is one of the matchups that a lot of fans were looking for, that Lehigh expects to win. But it's going to be a little bit more competitive than I think some people would expect. Barr ranked, what, 21st or 23rd, depending on the rankings you're looking at.
21 according to Flo, yep.
Just like Lillidahl, he is much better than his ranking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's more of just the unknown because he's only wrestled a couple of matches, and in his redshirt season last year, 16-0. Nothing close really here in this opening period. 3 minutes, no score.
I was impressed with, to go back to 125 for a second, I was very impressed with Seymour at 125. Lillidahl, he's a top 8 guy to me. He's definitely a top 8 guy, and I think he can make a run very seriously at that weight class by the end of the year. You remember last year at 125, how many different #1 ranked guys did we see there?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a little bit like that this year again. And here you see Beard on bottom here, and I'll get back to this match here at 197. Beard working hard. He might get, Barr's got to work up off those 2 legs, and he does it right away. And you could maybe see a little bit of a size difference here, and a nice standing switch by Beard. He's kind of in the crotch there, pulling himself behind, and he's going to pick up a 2-point reversal.
Now, let's see him try to go to work on top. This was something that was a lot of fun to watch last year. Mentioned the technical falls that he had, and a lot of it had to do with what he was able to do from the top position.
It'll be interesting to see as the match goes on how maybe the weight differential, because Beard's been wrestling 97 his whole career. This is his first time up at 97 for Barr. Although you think about the type of guys he gets to train with all year round in the Penn State room, I don't think it's that much of a disadvantage for him.
Not at all.
So Barr with the 1-point escape here, not before Beard picks up 15 seconds of riding time. And that's going to be something he wants to keep an eye on and build up that riding time against a younger wrestler. Boy, with a healthy Taylor and maybe you pull those red shirts, that's a heck of a lineup.
Get me started,
I know.
Scott.
A lot of people feel that way out there.
And you know, my biggest
trust
thing,
in Pat Santoro. The guy's done it well at a high level for a long time. He knows what he's doing.
No, and listen, I'm going to wait for Barr, see if he can finish as he does. He gets the takedown. He goes up 4-2. I'm going to let this play out before I continue that point. We have the end of the second. How about this? Penn State fans that are in the building, there's quite a few of them like this.
Take a look here at the standing switch earlier in the first period by Beard, and here's the takedown from Barr. He does a nice job with that underhook, throwing it by, and the angle that he got on that shot was for a 97-pounder. Outstanding.
So instant escape for Barr. He's in again.
And, you know, that's where we haven't seen Beard yet this match. He has a great single. Remember him hitting those on Dean? And he's not hitting them tonight here.
No. There's another takedown for Barr. He's up 8-2. And there is quite a few Nittany Lion fans in this building, and they're loving what they're seeing from Barr, the red shirt freshman, taking on the 6th-ranked Michael Beard.
And he 16-0 in college so far?
Yep, in his career, absolutely. Yeah, hasn't lost. I'm going to quickly get back to what you said about. So listen, I get it. It's just that with Easterns at Stabler and Nationals in Philly, I would love to see Brignola and Stanich in this lineup. And of course, the Taylor deal was an injury, and that's tough. But man, And again, it'll be next year, right? I mean, I talked to Nate Taylor at the Morgan State duel. He's like, at least I have one more season. He's going to get that opportunity, and he'll continue to train upper body as best he can with that MCL injury. But, yeah, it was a little disappointing to see those three guys not available or not going to be available this year. Beard gets the escape. It's 8-3.
Doug, you never know. I mean, do I think that any person that redshirts at Lehigh, it's 100% certain throughout the year?
True, yeah.
Things could happen.
45 seconds.
And by the way,
sometimes we have a hard time delaying gratification, right? We want to see the results right now.
Sometimes, especially now, it's instant. Look at this. Barr is going to try to get in again. It's an 8-3 lead for Barr. Riding time's not going to be a factor in the third.
Boy.
And he's going to do it. He's going to try to finish with more offense in the third.
Oh, my goodness. And what a
wow.
I felt like Beard made a nice adjustment on that single. And then the readjustment by Barr was just exceptional.
Yeah.
This doesn't look like the typical Michael Beard for me, though.
No, and Barr's loving this, trying to get the Penn State crowd going. He's going to lock this up, 11-3. It's a major decision win at 197 against number 6.
Wow, what an upset. I don't think anybody expected that to happen.
No, not at all. Here's how this finished, the last takedown.
Very good readjustment here, and he does a nice job of just limp arming out.
So it's 32-3. Number 2 ranked Craig Kirkvliet is ready to go at 285.
285 pounds.
And I'm not sure what we're going to see here because Owen Treffin.
Just to update the team score, unsportsmanlike called on Barr, I'm imagining for flexing there at the end, so a team point is deducted. Oh, it's on Starachi. That was a while ago. Okay, 31-3. So Lockman's going to go here. So Kirkvliet, the senior plus, 4-0, 75-10 from Inner Grove Heights, Minnesota, will take on the true freshman in Calvin Lockman from Quakertown, Pennsylvania. He's 2-3. So he got the lucky draw of coming out. Now, we talked about Owen Treffin, who will eventually be available for Lehigh. He's going to come in number 10. He was a transfer from NC State, which we had heard off the record at the last duel, so that will obviously bolster their upper weights. But Lockman's going to get a chance in just his 6th match to go against one of the best pound for pound in the country in Kirkvliet. Of course, he's got Gable Steveson to deal with this year, and that is why he's number 2 right now.
Let me say this. I think Gable Stevenson has Kirkvliet to deal with this year.
All right.
I know that's a bold statement, but he is legit. Look at that.
I don't disagree.
He is legit good at an elite level.
4-time All-American.
Does he need to get better throughout the season? Absolutely. But is Stevenson going to be the same wrestler he was after taking a year off to go into the WWE and do a couple football gigs? I don't know. He's unbelievably athletic, and he's been at that high level. So I'm really excited for that, and I know that Greg had in an interview had talked about how he felt about it. He said he's excited, but he goes, I'm the reigning national champ. I'm the national champ.
So a
returning national champ.
4-time All-American can be a 5-timer, national champ last year. And here's how he scored the opening takedown: 7th, 4th, 2nd, 1st. So yes. They don't wrestle during the regular season. They don't wrestle Minnesota. So
they wouldn't meet till the Big Ten championships. Give Lehigh and Calvin Lockman credit. He could have probably just had a forfeit here. Right? And he's a freshman, and they come out and he's got what are the odds of Lockman not getting pinned here, yet alone winning? And so it's great for the fans. Everybody wants to see somebody like Kirk Levesque and Lockman. You want to see how your freshman is, so I think that's pretty cool.
So Lockman goes from finishing 8th in the state last year at heavyweight, a 3-time state qualifier, to having to come out in this one. And again, because of the injury to Nathan Taylor, Lockman's been the guy until Treppen is available, which will probably be not till next year in January. And here's Kirk Vliet going for another turn. This will make it 15 to 1 or 15 nothing. And there's your tech fall with
2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Yeah. Well, that's
for a heavyweight, Doug.
Yeah, and that's what you got when you have that ability to take down and turn. So another bonus point win for Penn State. They won 9 of 10, 36-3 with the team point being taken away as your final. We will step aside and come back and wrap things up here from a jammed PPL Center.
We are returned home from Sheridan Children's Stadium Arena on December the 20th. Once again.
(36-3) is your final. A dominating performance for Penn State as they establish themselves again as the #1 team in the country, allowing Lehigh just the one victory at 133 by their returning All-American and #1 ranked Ryan Crookham. So PPL Center crowd on hand got a chance to see the country's best once again. And we'll send it down to Darren, who again is Matt's side, and if he saw it the same way we did, a pretty dominant effort for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, that second half of the Penn State lineup with Messenbrink, Starachi, obviously, and then Kirk Vliet at heavyweight. But then you throw in Josh Barr there at 197 with a very impressive win against #6 Michael Beard. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, that back half of that lineup is so loaded, but you get that freshman Josh Barr, super impressive. Messenbrink doing his thing, but got a little action going. The crowd got into it a little bit. Obviously, a lot of Penn State fans here, but overall, that second half of that match was impressive for Penn State. And but give Jack Will credit as well for Lehigh. He had a nice loss 14-1, but in multiple times. But like Scott Hovan said, getting in on a 4-time national champion you can do, but to finish, that's something different. But overall, what a great dual meet here between Penn State and Lehigh.
Hey Dan, where does Murderer Rose begin and end with this Penn State lineup?
It starts at 125 and goes to heavyweight, right?
Yeah, it starts from the beginning all the way through. I mean, that back half of the lineup I told you is crazy, but you know, that little doll in the beginning, tough as nails. But overall, this lineup, I mean, there's no holes whatsoever. So, but overall, you know, Penn State doing their thing here at PPL Center.
Yeah, and thanks, Darren. I mean, we're gonna try. I mean, again, Davis. So Crookham got the only takedown for Lehigh, by the way. All right. And Davis even gave him a battle. So Lillidahl set the mood for Penn State with the win over Sheldon Seymour. Crookham got the only Lehigh win with one takedown. Again, the only takedown that Penn State allowed. Braden Davis, who's number 8, great battle, losing 4-2. Bartlett gets the 5-0 major, and then things started to pick, or 5-0 decision, and things started to pick up a little bit. Shane Van Ness was explosive with the major at 149, and Tyler Kasak, Brzezinski did a great job. Kasak battling that nosebleed and the whole deal. So, I mean, that's kind of an effort by Brzezinski, a true freshman, wrestling against a guy that was third in the country last year.
Yeah, I'd be excited about both of those guys, the way they wrestled. And obviously, he's a hometown favorite. He's going to be supported no matter what from the Lehigh Valley Kasich.
So
well.
just keep an eye on this last 5, as you joked about Murderers Row, and who in the world can compete against this group. Messenbrink, #1, Tech Fall. Haynes, #2, Fall. Starachi, 4-time national champ, major, against Wilt, who battled. Then Barr got what I think is Penn State's best win over #6, Michael Beard. So you throw him in with Kirk Fliette at heavyweight, and again, he's only #2 because of Stevenson coming back. I mean, I want to see a lineup that can crack somewhere in there. Who can Iowa compete with them? Can Minnesota compete with them, which they're not going to be in a dual meet? I mean, that's outstanding.
I mean, if they're healthy and the answer is no.
Yeah. This is why they need a dual meet tournament in college. Would you not want to see Minnesota? Would you not want to see Ohio State consistently? Would you not want to see an Oklahoma State potentially wrestle against them? They will wrestle Iowa, so that's pretty cool. But a tremendous effort by Penn State. Fun to watch these guys today. And Lehigh trying to regroup now and finish off this calendar year with what they can get in December.
Well, and let's not, I mean, this is a tall task for Lehigh.
Yes.
Not only Lehigh, every team in the country. How many teams out there can win 3 or 4 or more matches than that against Penn State?
Yes.
And even the top 5 ranked teams are going to have a difficult time winning 3 or more matches against Penn State.
So we mentioned that again. Penn State is back at Bryce Jordan Center next Sunday against Wyoming. Lehigh, meanwhile, has the Sheridan Tournament at Stabler on the 20th in a unique round-robin format. They start January with 3 straight road duels at Binghamton on the 11th, Cornell the next day, Navy on the 17th, and again back home on the 31st in a match that we will televise at Grace Hall against American. And keep an eye on our schedule at SEN, on SENTV.com, because we may get the ladies' match, the women's match against Columbia at 3 o'clock, but it will be at Grace, and a tremendous effort. So, yeah, and I'll tell you what, again, this venue's cool. I'd like to see a college match here every year. Maybe we can get Pitt match moved here next year. That's up to you. But I like it here.
I love it here, unless Lehigh maybe could find some funding and update their arena with some bigger scoreboards, things like that. Or
Stabler, yeah. I like that place too.
Or bulldoze it and put a brand new one in, although they're going to say, we will, how about you and Doug help fund it?
All right, well, hope you enjoyed our coverage here on SCN and, of course, on FloWrestling as well. Penn State obviously establishing themselves as a legit #1. They win 36-3. For our entire Service Electric Network crew, and for Darren Danner, Matt Side, and Scott Hovain up here with me in the booth, I'm Doug Heater saying so long. Penn State wins this one against the Mountain Hawks 36-3.
At a point for advantage time.